Would you like to be somebody who knows what directs your attention, what determines what you pay attention to and what you focus on? Then listen to this entire video where I explain an evolutionary theory that I came up with and I think makes sense as to what controls your focus, let's say. So before we get into this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Let's get into it. Okay, so obviously we have an attention. We have a focus that discriminates everything and chooses to focus on a select few things in life, because you know there's like an infinite potential number of inputs or things going on around you that you could pay attention to, but you only choose to pay attention to a few things, obviously because we're quite limited. But the question arises, how do we choose, or what determines the thing that we pay attention to? And that's what I'm going to discuss today. So, you know, we look at certain people and we don't look at other people, and we watch certain movies and YouTube videos, but we don't watch other things. And you read certain things which you choose, and there are a lot of things you don't read. So clearly we are choosing things to focus on and discriminating against the other things that we don't focus on. Now, I'm not referring to the things that you are forced to pay attention to. Let's say your teacher forces you to read a poem because that will be discussed in the next English literature class. No, I'm talking about the things that you unconsciously pay attention to. So the things that you find yourself paying attention to seemingly randomly, but it's not random, I think. Okay, so obviously humans, according to evolutionary theory, are primed to survive. So humans are sort of configured in a way that allows them to stay alive and reproduce, to keep the species alive, and that's sort of like the evolutionary purpose of humanity, let's say, or of the individual human. And if we were sort of to simplify it, your attention is drawn to the things that can either kill you, so threaten your survival, or benefit your survival. So we have two ways. We want to survive, so anything that will threaten your survival is of highest importance for you to pay attention to, and the things that will keep you alive and surviving, that is also something that is very of high relevance to you. So let's break this down. So that my theory is that your attention is drawn to the things that will enable you to thrive in life and will also keep you away from dying or being threatened, so, of course, the obvious first one is the things your attention is drawn to the things that will threaten your life. So, if there is somebody in a room that is angry with you, or you know that they really want to hurt you, your focus will be fixated on them throughout the time you are in the room. Let's say you're in a restaurant and there's like some sort of hitman. It's a random example in the restaurant that is after you. Your attention will be fixated continuously, unbroken, from the second you walk into that restaurant and the second you leave it. You're not looking at them, but you know where they sit, and you are like actively thinking and focusing on your attention. You're paying attention to what they are doing because they threaten your survival. Second, if somebody is threatening your social status, your attention will be occupied with that person. Let's say somebody attempts to discredit you. So they are trying to endanger your reputation, which endangers your inclusion in the social group. Now your survival, especially let's say your mental survival, is highly dependent on whether you are integrated into social groups, because they keep you from being lonely, and loneliness, trust me, is a horrific problem, and it makes you deteriorate awfully fast and die quicker, let's say. Hence, whether somebody is endangering your inclusion in a group is of highest importance to you. Hence, this slanderous person occupies your attention and you try to deal with it in some sort of way. Okay. Example number 3 of something that is relevant to your survival. If somebody possesses something valuable which can increase your survival rate, you will focus on them. When I'm talking about a survival rate, I'm not talking about a binary variable of death versus life. I am talking about, I think this is right, a categorical variable which has different layers and different categories. So one way to describe the rate of survival is how much unnecessary suffering is present in your day-to-day life. If you live, let's say, in a dangerous neighborhood because of your socioeconomic background, let's say you do not have a lot of access to financial resources, you will have to live in a, let's say, an example would be a poverty-stricken neighborhood, which is characterized by high crime rates. Every time you leave the house, you will feel more stress and anxiety about being robbed or being raped even, and that's horrific. And this high level of stress produces cortisol in your body, which makes your body deteriorate faster and increases the rate of getting many fatal diseases like heart disease and other issues like diabetes, Alzheimer's, and obesity. These are all, let's say, states of suffering to a degree, and because you are in a low socioeconomic environment, you are subjected to more stress and a higher rate of, let's say, bodily depreciation and a sooner death. Now, that's obviously threatening to your survival, and anybody who offers some sort of value which could get you out of that, so move away from this bodily deterioration and death, is of high relevance to you and is of importance and utility to you, so you pay attention to them. Let's say somebody has something that can get you up the socioeconomic hierarchy that's of interest to you. Maybe they can teach you knowledge on how to build a business and gain financial resources. You will listen to them attentively when they speak in order to absorb their wisdom, which can help you. Hence, your attention is drawn in. And now finally, my favorite example of this sort of attention theory is in regards to romance and sexual partners, or long-term intimate partners, let's say. That's better. So humans, I think we have a proclivity to pay attention to attractive people, or people who we might want to consider as a long-term intimate partner for us. When we refer to human beings as being primed to survive, what we mean is that they are primed to keep the human species alive, and that would need to constitute reproduction, and you cannot reproduce unless you have a partner of the opposite sex, obviously, believe it or not. So when you see somebody attractive, you repeatedly lock your eyesight on them, and perhaps they are also interested in you, and they will lock eyes with you, and you'll repeatedly sort of catch eye contact with one another. And I can tell for myself, if there's somebody attractive, there's almost like an unconscious thing in me that's delegating my eyesight to look at them and keep thinking of them, because I don't know why, but I guess it's because it is of relevance to my survival and keeping the species alive and reproducing, that I look at them and pay attention to them, because an opportunity might arise for me to engage and talk to them, and that would be the first step to building a long-term connection with someone. And I have that if I'm, let's say, again, in a restaurant and there's somebody attractive who's sort of in my view, I will keep sort of not thinking actively and consciously, but sort of like my eyes will keep drawing to them, and they might look back at me then, and we lock eye contact, and it might get awkward and a bit weird, but it happens sort of every time. Yeah, so my theory on what guides your attention is just really, it's partially really my opinion. It's not, I mean, I believe it is partially based on research, such as the evolution of eyes and how the white around your eyes has evolved away from chimpanzees. Like chimpanzees, who are like long-term descendants, predecessors, don't have white around their pupils. I mean, I mean, I know gorillas don't. I think chimpanzees also. And we evolved away from it because the white around your eyes allows you to detect if somebody is looking at you more, because the white around your eyes, if somebody is looking at you, the white around their eyes is sort of evenly spaced out, and that allows you to, your eyes are very able to detect if the whiteness around the eyes is sort of evenly balanced. That means they are looking at you. That means you are of relevance to them, and that would mean they either want to harm you, like say kill you in like a radical sense. They want to kill you, or they want to negotiate. They want to trade with you, both of which are relevant to your survival. And that means that has to do with attention, because they are paying attention to you, which means you should be paying attention to them in some sense, because they either want to kill you or they want to trade with you. So I believe there are research papers on that evolution of the whiteness around your eyes, let's say. So in conclusion, your attention is drawn to those things that are relevant to your survival, the things that can help you reproduce, like a potential partner, or things that can help you reduce your suffering, because suffering makes you unnecessary suffering can make you depreciate faster and die sooner, which increases the risk of you not reproducing. And also, so if somebody can give you value, which helps you gain financial resources and protect you from unnecessary suffering, and if somebody obviously wants to kill you, that is obviously like you will be focusing on that person to make sure they don't get to you and don't actually harm you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. So this video is sort of partially based on science, and also I have developed it based on my sort of rational thinking. I think it's rational, I hope so. I'm trying to logically deduce what determines, what delegates our attention, let's say. So thank you for listening.